So something that can happen when you have two chains, when you have a chain split and the chains both have the same UTXO, same address type, same private keys, all of this, where they have a lot of the same similarities, except one is maybe expanding the rule sets in a hard fork, or one is restricting the rule set and invalidating other blocks, and that's causing the split. What you can have is you can have something called a replay attack. So this is a diagram explaining how it works, and we'll just go from there. So when a blockchain splits without a transaction isolation, the networks share identical ledger histories. A transaction broadcast on one chain can be intercepted and replayed on the competing chain, executing unauthorized duplicate transfers. So here we have an example of Alice sends a transaction to Bob on chain 1. It moves over here to the next place in this same chain. And then Eve, that is an eavesdropper, which is basically somebody in the middle here looking for these transactions that are happening, intercepts the raw transaction data from the shared mempool and relays that on the other chain. And so this other chain has this same exact transaction, and the transaction executes successfully, unintentionally draining Alice's assets on the second network. So you spend on one, and somebody intercepts that and spends it on the other one as well without you wanting to do that. So the way this can be done is because cryptographic signatures guarantee authenticity and integrity, but they do not inherently guarantee freshness, the property that a signature is bound to a single executional context. So because UTXOs and private keys are mathematically identical on both chains at the block height of the split, the network cannot distinguish between a legitimate transaction and a malicious replay. So a signed transaction is a signed transaction, and that information can be intercepted and relayed onto the other blockchain. We're taking a look here at August 1st, 2017. In prior splits, like Ethereum Classic, they suffered massive replay attacks, draining exchange wallets because signatures were identical on both chains. So we have a historical evidence that this is possible. It's technically possible, obviously, but we have actual historical evidence that this has happened. And then in the block size war, Bitcoin Cash started to trade on the futures market. So therefore, there was value to that chain. So to survive this, BCH required a permanent protocol level shift in how transaction digests were constructed to cleanly separate the networks. So the Bitcoin Cash side put in something called replay protection. They coded in changes that made it so that the transactions relayed on one network wouldn't transact on the other. This is the way that kind of works. So Bitcoin Cash developers engineered a mandatory defense by altering the signature hashing algorithm. Transactions generated on BCH are mathematically rejected by Bitcoin nodes and vice versa. So even though they shared the UTXO set and the history, this permanently made them different as far as the networks were concerned. Don't second guess that your Bitcoin is safe. Get a security audit through a one-on-one session with me and join the school community, the Bitcoin Masters, to meet other Bitcoiners, grow your network, and grow your net worth.